Hello, everyone. So, welcome back to the FanFaction, and this is episode 3, where we'll be talking about 2022's Barbarian. And I'm joined by Ben and Dylan, as usual. How are you guys doing?
Doing good, doing good. I have a lot to say about this movie.
Great. Well, I'm hoping this is my pick, and I know obviously neither of you had seen it, and I've been jawing the ear off you about it for a long time. So hopefully it's good chat, and it's not I hated this movie. Um, but so a little bit of background. It's a 2022 movie written and directed by Zach Cregger, starring Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, Justin Long. And a brief synopsis is: a woman staying at an Airbnb discovers the house she has rented is not what it seems. So, Ben, we'll fire over to you. What did you think of 2022's Barbarian?
Absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic, start to finish. Didn't really know where it was going to go, to be honest. I had no idea what it was about when it started. And for the first half an hour, you think it's going to be some creepy guy in an Airbnb who's going to turn out to be a stalker or a killer or something. And then when you find a secret doorway. Oh no, the first indication is when she's asleep and you kind of see a doorway at the end of the house move and someone moving or something, and he's asleep on the couch, so you don't know what's going on.
Having his night terrors.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and then when you go down into the basement, but he goes down first, and there's that bed down there with the camera, and she doesn't know where he's gone. Then you find out there's a secret wall, and then she goes in there, and she keeps going down, and you see all these rooms, and it's very dark and it's very creepy, and you don't know where it's going to go. And then he comes out of nowhere, and you're like, "What the fuck, Jesus!" Oh, it's then all the shit hits the fan. Like you don't know what the fuck's happening. This random woman comes out of nowhere and just smashes his head in, and you don't know what happens to her. Then the movie essentially starts over again into this second movie with Justin Long, who turns out to own the Airbnb. And then he comes in and he's doing all these measurements, and then he goes down into the basement. It's fucking brilliant. I just think I really, really enjoyed it from start to finish. I thought it was excellent. Anyway, that's not ranting. What do you guys think?
Dylan, you go ahead.
Yeah, okay. So I read that first movie within the movie, I really, really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Had it just been that, I think I enjoyed the whole thing. I thought it was pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
But my real problems lay with the fact that it wanted to keep saying so much to me that it never told me anything. And like there are things I really loved about it, like the one scene where they're in the cage and with the hairy bottle. And I do like, and then she's like, she wants you to be her baby. This is,
Bubba,
yeah,
Bubba.
this, I really like this bit. This I'm really enjoying. Justin Long's thing. I love Justin Long in anything because you know he's going to die and you know he's going to die very well. Um, he's he's just one of those actors where he shows up in horror where you're like, oh yeah, no, we're gonna it's going to be a good death. Um,
I
but
love his character where he's just like he's got
it's
money and
just
he's like a Me Too
yeah.
actor and he's just trying to get as much money out of the house as he can. So he doesn't really care that it's scary down there. He's just trying to measure it to see what he can get. So,
I love the way he just completely disregards the fact that there's like a shitty bed and a camera,
Yeah.
and he just
measuring
doesn't
under the
make
bed.
any remark. Nothing.
Um, I I don't see the point behind all the coincidence of Skarsgård's character. Like it was just like it set up a completely different movie.
Yeah.
Do you
That's
know
a
what I
very
mean?
good point.
So it's like he comes in and he's like, oh, you should film me. You just so happen to be in this place with no one no one looked outside.
Yeah.
First things first, everyone's been outside and no one looked around. And then it's just like he's just all these great things that are just mismatched, and you're like, okay, this movie seems kind of interesting to me straight because it's telling me straight away what he is.
Mm.
And it's like, no, he's gone now. We're moving to a different movie. And then it cuts to a third movie that we're going back in time
Yeah.
about what that whole thing's about. And I'm like, okay, that's kind of interesting. But it's like, but it's three different movies.
Yeah. There's a lot going on.
Their central theme is the really interesting thing that I like its explanation. I also don't like its explanation of what the creature actually is. Because it's just the real interesting thing about the monster is its very innocent drive. But it was like three different movies that one's talking about urban decay, one's talking about Me Too, one's talking about xenophobia, and then and then the fourth thing in it is the lone female survivor who, because it goes back to Me Too then.
Yeah. Because he puts her off the water tower because he's a piece of shit, you know.
Which I kind of loved. Well, like the one of my favorite parts of it was Justin Long's whole thing.
Yeah.
Because he was just such a dick. So when he does die, you're like, yeah, this is such a good payoff. So like there are bits like that I really enjoyed, but I just thought it tried to shove too much in my face without actually ever saying anything.
Yeah. There was a lot going on. I mean, all I can say about the Bill Skarsgård character is it was used as a red herring. You're meant to believe Bill Skarsgård is the bad guy from the off. And then, like you said, with those little coincidences, and you're like, is he just saying this shit to like woo her in? And then obviously you have that bit where you're like, okay, he's definitely just a good guy in a terrible situation. But it is quite jarring. Like you don't really know where the movie's going to go from that point when Justin Long comes into it. And it does feel like two movies. Like the first half is actually like quite creepy. And like when the reveal of the mother coming in and smashing his head, I was like, that reminded me a bit of just the way like her makeup was done. Do you know Wreck when they go up into the attic at the end?
Very much so, yeah.
It reminded me a bit of her, and that's kind of what I was thinking. That was really well done. But then you could argue the second half of the movie is a comedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually, I think that's a really good point. Yeah.
Like, well, maybe it was, I don't know, I laughed a lot, and it was mainly Justin Long's character, but I just there's so many laugh out loud moments with him, and it's like he's almost the villain of the piece. Like the mother obviously has, like Dylan said, she's like, there's a very innocent reason behind her taking people, whereas obviously Richard Brake's character, I mean, he's a villain in everything he's in, so he's a piece of shit straight away. But Justin Long really is kind of the villain of the movie in a way. Like he's obviously sexually harassed Tier 1 because you kind of get that context of the drunken phone call, so he's done something that he's slightly guilty about, and then you get all this stuff with like just like being able to pass over a room full of weird smutty paraphernalia and just like pass it over, and then just like obviously throwing your one off the water tower at the end. Like it's just,
I'm sure he's seen more disturbing things in Hollywood. There's probably carry on. It's like, this is nothing compared to what's going on in the real world. It's interesting because I think when he started this movie, when he's filming it, he got cancelled during that time. So he got Me Too, like literally.
Justin Long did.
Yeah,
Justin
he did.
Long?
Yeah. Very weird.
I didn't hear about that at all.
Yeah, so he might be playing somebody close to home,
Interesting. Well, he played it well. I remember hearing before I saw Barbarian, people were raving about his performance in this. He was very good, in fairness.
He's very good. Yeah, he's excellent at it. But yeah, the monster now. I just assumed it was the child of your one who got abducted.
Well, they say don't they say it's Richard Brake's daughter? Like it's the bad guy who's obviously abducting women. It's his daughter.
It's the daughter of his daughter. It kind of gave this impression of like, it's like they've been inbred so much that they've become, because we seem to have this belief in the horror genre that the more familial loving, the more powerful you seem to become. And that kind of thing. With that one, I felt that was just a little bit confusing because it led you to believe that it had a couple more generations than it did. I felt.
Yeah, I mean, unless some of the daughters were having babies at like 13 or something, like then you could kind of, like you said, you could explain how it got down that far. But no, I think it's like, even if you say, okay, it's a daughter of a daughter.
Yeah.
it's still, yeah. But it's interesting what you were saying, Dylan, just about that, about just how it's trying to fit too much into one, because I never really thought about it that way, because I always thought I just thought it worked nearly. I was only just seeing it as like 2 movies, but like when you actually think about how much information you're being fed and the amount of different characters that are in it, it is quite a lot to pack into what, like, it's a 2-hour movie maybe.
Yeah,
I think 2 hours. Yeah. Now it didn't feel like 2 hours.
flew by, yeah.
Like I thought it was very well paced. But it wants to say so much about urban decay. Obviously because it's set in Detroit and things like that. When eventually everyone, because everyone only ever seems to arrive here in the dead of night.
Yeah.
And
I
when
thought it
people
was a
go,
pretty cool device though, because I remember, because if you think about what her character would have done if she had rocked up to that house during the day, she probably would have went, no, fuck this, and driven back the other way.
Definitely.
But I thought that was a really cool thing to have, where she goes out during the day, like that juxtaposition of, thinking an area is okay, and then
it's an hour 42 minutes. Sorry, it's an hour 42 minutes.
42. Yeah, so it definitely doesn't. Yeah, it's not overly long. But yeah, that was an interesting choice to kind of have that urban decay, because there is a lot of places like that in the States that are just back arse of nowhere, nothing going on, poverty, kind of poverty's the norm.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's definitely trying to say a lot.
Yeah, there's a bit of commentary on racism on it as well, because all the black community was moving into Detroit, and that's why all the white people were leaving. I think it's in the flashback scene where the minorities are starting to move in, and then it turns out the only black character in the movie turns out to be the one that's trying to save everybody, the homeless guy.
Yeah. I had a feeling when I was watching that, I was like, you think it's going to go badly, but then I just had a feeling, I was like, I can't think he's trying to warn her or something.
Yeah.
I will say, I did slightly have a problem with the female lead, her character, like her actual choices. Like, she has so many opportunities to get out of that house pre all the bad stuff happening, and even after the bad stuff happens, she has a chance to just get the hell out of there and just like, no, just like go live your life, you don't need to stay here or whatever. And it's just, I don't know, her kind of motivations for doing things was a bit all over the place. I can get her going in when the Airbnb is booked. It's kind of one of those things, it's like, I probably shouldn't say yes to this person, but I don't know, you feel obliged to say yes if they invite you in. Nearly.
Yeah.
Like that's a bit of a trope. You're like, I know I shouldn't be doing this, but I'm going to do it anyway. But yeah, like going down into, like, if you'd gone down into that attic and found that weird, like rope with the door, and then gone in and seen that like camera, and you would have been straight out of there. You wouldn't have been going back. And I definitely wouldn't have been going into the secret wall after hearing Keith go down there and like screaming.
But you would if he's gone in and you kind of spent the night together and you kind of hit it off, and you're kind of like, where's he gone? I can kind of see myself.
So dodgy, man.
You just don't think.
I mean, he opened wine. Don't waste it.
Yeah, I don't know. It was odd. Like, I remember, because I watched it. It was funny. Fiona watched it with me. I had already seen it, and I was watching it for the second time for this. And she was like, "This one's a moron." Like literally 5 minutes in, she was like, "What is she doing?" She was like, "No girl in the right mind would go into that house straight away, or if they did, it would be to like make a phone call and then leave."
Definitely would. Was it raining? That might have.
Yeah, I think it was. Yeah.
It was, but there was just so much in that where it was a bit like, oh, come on, like,
yeah.
This don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Do you know what I think? There's a really good choice as well, was actually casting Bill Skarsgård in that part, because he had a good few villain parts already. So nearly you're thinking, oh yeah, he's definitely the bad guy. Like, it was a genius bit of casting, and then to just kill him off after the half an hour or whatever it was yeah, I thought it was really, really good.
Yes. How many of the hairy bottles do you think she had to drink before she realized the way out of it was to be the baby?
Yeah, he's just thinking some sort of sick joke at the start. I don't even want to think about that. That was disgusting.
Was he
Justin
trying to?
Long being breastfed is one of the best things.
Yeah,
I've
that was so. Oh God. What
Oh
did she
God.
have? Mothering videos on him or something on the
You
old
what?
TV. She had like tips
Oh,
and
you
videos.
should like an
Oh,
instructional video on
yeah.
how to do it, yeah. And you're watching it and you know this is coming, and you're like, I'm actually about to be sick.
And what do
Yeah.
you think of him stumbling across the old man in the bed in the basement?
I
The
thought that was a cool, like
yeah,
I thought it was kind of cool. They could have done a better job of aging him.
yeah, he looked the exact same.
Wow, it was only yesterday this place went to shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I ain't
I,
leaving.
I think I like the way they did. I think they added a bit in where they say, I can't remember who says it, and somebody's like, "Oh, she's not the worst thing in this place," and
Yes.
like,
I was expecting
you
more.
know,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
expecting.
Well, that's maybe there was more down there. That's the thing. Like there were nearly like catacombs, and there were so many different places. Maybe there was more down there. You know, maybe they weren't even referring to him. But I
That's
mean,
it.
he was the villain. I mean, the mother was just an inbred, you know, a real like sorry figure. Like, I mean, you did feel sorry for her, you know,
But
like
in fairness, yeah,
especially at
towards
the
the
end.
end,
Yeah,
yeah, you were like, no, you actually, in fairness, the one thing it did really well is turn your sympathy to the mother.
yeah,
I thought, in fairness to it, like, and when she's, one thing I didn't like when she's off the water tower and she distinctly falls nearly a full 2 minutes after her,
yeah.
but somehow through the superpowers of inbreeding manages to fall quicker and be under her.
It's just physics, Dylan.
That was something that I was like, there's like nearly a solid 2 minutes between, Justin going, oh well, and the mother going after her, and it's like,
The mother
He
died.
did.
She was more aerodynamic, you know?
She had no
I,
clothes on, so she was just slipstream.
yeah, but that was just something that I was just like, because you're kind of building up all these sympathies for her, and then all of a sudden it's just like, she fell 2 minutes, she jumped 2 minutes after her.
Yeah,
Was your one bouncing off the
yeah.
off
No,
off the footpath?
there definitely was that. I even noticed that when I was watching it. There's a definite gap between her jumping off and your one being pushed off. They could have maybe done it where she was already down there or something,
I think that
and
would
Justin
be
Long
better.
thought she was coming
Mm.
up and it just like thrown her off. Could have done it that way. But yeah,
And
yeah, no,
why did she leave the house? I can't remember. She said the homeless guy said she never leaves, so we're safe.
oh,
And then
I
she
think it
burst
was
through the wall.
because
I think it
yeah,
was
I think it was
because your one
because
had
Tess.
had fed into what was ultimately her desire to have a child or to
Mm.
Yeah,
protect a child, because she drank the hairy bottle a couple of times and fed into it.
Stop saying that.
I
Stop.
can't, because it makes me sick. Like, we talked about a movie where someone gets chainsawed from crotch to nose, and I was fine with it, but this massive hair on a greasy, unwashed baby bottle.
you'd
It's,
rather take the nip.
yeah, it just makes me go. "Bleh."
Yeah, yeah, it's fairly disgusting. There
But
was
it's like,
nothing sanitary about that.
but it happens so quickly when when they're in the cage and she's like, she just wants you to be her baby. You're like, how many of them did you have to drink?
Yeah, like, it says a lot. She was probably the first person to do it out of the
Yeah.
thousands of people they probably had down there. She was the only one to cop what was actually going on. I think most people wouldn't want to drink the hairy bottle. Let's be honest. I'd be a terrible prisoner.
There could be a sequel now because there was a lot of cages and stuff that were empty. And as you said, Shane, did I see another locked doorway at one point?
Yeah, there was. I feel there was a lot of stuff cut.
Yeah.
There could well have been. It could have been like nearly like a House with 1,000 Corpses. At the end where you see like what's your man's the guy's name? Doctor what?
Dr. Satan.
Dr. Satan, and like nearly every room they go in, like there's some new horror. It could have been very much like that, I haven't heard of them making a sequel or anything like that, so I don't think that's a plan. But it would be interesting if there is more kind of story to that to get more. Like you could even do a prequel, like you had the whole Richard Brake thing,
Good, yeah. I haven't seen anything else he's done. Zach Cregger,
Richard. No, that was his first. So he wrote and directed it, and that was his first. Apparently, so he does have a new movie coming out. I think either end of this year or beginning of next year. But apparently, there was a huge rush to get the rights to it. So whatever it is, the script must be good. And I think it is another horror movie as well. So I'm interested to see what he comes out with now. That's a great first feature film.
It is, yeah. Weapons is the next one to be announced. He's writer, director, and producer. Was he in Barbarian as an actor? Apparently he was.
Was he?
Yeah.
I didn't know that if he was.
He was Everett in the movie. I don't know.
Everett.
I have no idea what that is.
Was
one of the was there paramedics in the movie? I can't remember.
There were two policemen at the end.
Could be that.
Maybe
Yeah.
it was that.
I think it is. Yeah, I think it is him. Yeah.
Which that was a really weird scene. Those policemen were arseholes.
Oh yeah.
But again, that was another thing it was trying to say. It was like tacking on another message.
Mm.
The race card.
The race card, the the corrupt American police system.
Yeah.
It's just like message, not backing up message. That was like really, because I think it was an enjoyable movie. I really liked The Monster. I really like Justin Long's part. But it just shoving too much, and then it ends on the lone female survivor trope,
and
you're like, and this where it kind of turns into like, you don't understand, but what's the point? Do you know?
Yeah, what's her character?
Yeah, like
she doesn't really have an arc, I guess.
Yeah, she's just a vessel she connects the dots. She connects the nips.
Yeah.
Do you know?
The nips.
Yeah. I was waiting.
I didn't really mind the social commentary stuff. I didn't really notice it. I don't know, maybe because I don't know. There's a lot of it out there, so maybe I just could have gotten used to it, But I think you very rarely see that level of social commentary in the genre of horror. So in a way, it was kind of a bit refreshing in a way, But yeah. Now that
outside of Jordan Peele,
there is a lot of messages in it, and it probably was kind of unfocused of exactly what the message was, But yeah, that was.
But I do think it was enjoyable. If you pick one message and just go, that's all I'm going to pay attention to. I think it's a very entertaining movie. Again, I think it did Monster really, really well. I equal parts was annoyed by and really enjoyed the fact that just nobody had seen this in the daylight until
yeah.
That was a big hole. It was like, come on. Surely when you drove up, you could see across the road was an absolute state,
Yeah.
It was
like, why has only one house got a light?
Yeah. Did we ever? What was I'm only kind of just thinking about this now, but presumably anybody who was staying there was being abducted. Like who was who was running the Airbnb?
Oh, state agent, I think.
Yeah. It's a bit weird. Because there's no way that they were the only ones to stay in that place that something happened.
But then if you think about it, because Justin Long character who owns the house didn't know there were people in it.
Yeah, you just thought there were squatters or something. It was very odd. Like maybe there's some dodgy bit the real estate agent or whoever was running the Airbnb side of it. It was very.
He's one of the Wincest children. That's the sequel.
or that's well, like genuinely, like that there has to be something dodged. Like, how is she Airbnb it out without letting him know? And then how is it not? I don't know. People are going missing and they're staying in that Airbnb. How is that not getting investigated? I suppose that's maybe one of the only like things I'm only thinking about now, and I'm like, that's probably a bit of a plot hole that's never resolved.
I think he knew it was being Airbnb, but I think their time to stay had passed. So he thought the house was empty. So he was coming into an empty place with all their suitcases, and he was like, "Why the fuck are they still here?" You know?
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it. Yeah.
Barbarian 2, Wincest real estate.
Harry bottle.
Don't mention the Harry bottle again.
But you have to though, because it was just that, and it's like she's through the cage, and you're looking at it, and it's just like she's shaking it a bit, and it's one of the few times ever watching a movie where I've been like, "Oh, going to be sick. I'm actually going to be sick."
That or death, Bill. What would you do?
I'd let her smash my head straight into the wall.
Put you out of your misery.
Yeah. Were you telling me you'd take the hairy bottle?
I probably would. I'm complete beta.
I would. Yeah. Jesus. Just close your eyes, you know? Could be anything.
Milk is class still.
Lactose intolerant and 80% vegan. Can't do it.
No.
The other thing about that, not only is it hairy, but this is going to make me shit myself.
Also full fat.
Zach Efron was meant to play Justin Long's character.
Oh, that would have been awful.
I don't think that would have. I don't think that would have been as good. Justin Long is a really good. Like he's great in everything he's in. He really is. I don't think I've ever seen Justin Long in a movie.
Yeah, did you watch Goosebumps? The new Goosebumps?
No. Good.
He's really good in it.
Oh, totally.
Because he kind of spoiler alert again. He's like kind of the villain. But it's not. He isn't initially. Some goosebumpy stuff happens. But he's really good in it.
I'll have to give it a watch.
So here's
it's on Disney Plus. It's worth a watch.
The mother's hair on the baby bottle was initially a mistake. Some of Matthew Patrick Davis's wig got stuck to the nipple, and writer-director Zach Cregger thought it looked really gross, so he decided to add more to it.
Worked well.
It's worked, yeah.
I mean, even if there hadn't been hair on it, it wasn't hygienic. I mean, the bottle did not look clean. The hair only added to it. The disgusting levels.
Yeah. Remember when the mother claws out Justin Long's eyeballs?
Yeah.
It kills him. It's a commentator saying it's a nod to Jeepers Creepers. Remember his character has no eyes when she discovers him in the...
Didn't even think about that. It's been so long since I've seen that movie in fairness.
Again, if you want a really good death in a movie, you call Justin Long. He's
doesn't die in Dodgeball.
Well, that was a comedy. But what was that actor? He was in Aliens 2. He was the android in Aliens 2 or 3. Was it Aliens 3? He was the android.
The David Fincher one?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know. It's been ages since I've seen that.
The guy who played the android in that, he was one of those actors who, if you wanted like a really good death in whatever you were making, he was the guy to call.
Call Justin Long.
I can't remember his name though.
Who plays what are they called? They're not called
Android. No, they are, aren't they?
Android,
androids. Yeah, they are. Yeah, sorry. Brian Glover. Oh no.
No.
Lance Henriksen. No, that he plays Bishop. It's not him.
Good deaths. Is it Sean Bean?
Sean Bean gave you a good death.
It might be Alien 3, Dale. I think Bishop's the android.
That's what I said, Alien 3.
Yeah. Like your man who plays the android in 1 and 2 is the same. Or in 1.
It is. It's Lance Henriksen.
Oh, right.
Like there was a lot of stuff he was in, because he was in this show Millennium as well. It was all like he's one of those like if you want a really kind of dark show or something like that, he was the one to call because he was in X-Files for a little while as well, I think. And but he's like one of them. You know, there's going to be a good death in this if he shows up in it.
Yeah,
Lance Henriksen. Yeah, that's his name.
His
so
head
you
gets
think then, huh?
his head gets cut off in Aliens, is it? And there's like white blood everywhere. It's
He gets cut
Yeah.
off from the hip.
that's it.
That's it. It's in Aliens, yeah.
Mm.
The mother or the queen alien rips him in half.
Yes, Alien 3, he shows up as the designer of the androids. Yeah, yeah. Okay, remember them.
I don't think I've ever seen that fully through. I remember dipping in and out of it. I'll have to watch it.
I should watch Resurrection as well. I think I've only seen it once.
Resurrection is good in parts. Like the weird hybrid is pretty messed up towards the end. But
I remember I saw that in the cinema.
Greystone Cinema.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good movie now. I actually watched that not too long ago, but it was like the director's cut, and that's a Luc Besson film.
Is it?
Yeah.
yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I think so.
Right.
I don't think he's never done another horror before, has he? He's normally just like kind of specifically sci-fi, really, or action
Luc Besson?
thrillers.
We have 2 minutes left, so we better give our score for this movie.
Yep.
It is a solid 3 out of 5 for me.
I will go for 4. I really enjoyed it.
I'm gonna give it a 5. This is, and it's just because I like this is why I picked the film because I absolutely loved it. It's probably top 5 horror movie for me. I loved it. Like Dylan said, like I know it's not obviously like there's certain flaws in it, but like I can overlook all that just because the rest, like everything about the movie, I just love casting, writing, direction, just the general idea that I love that like 2 movies within a movie. I thought they were both parts are really, really good. So I'd give it a 5. And it's going to be, I know it's going to be one that I'll probably watch at least once a year, I think. Yeah, top 5 horror movie for me.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect now when you recommended it, when you said it was called Barbarian. The name is a bit odd, isn't it, for the movie?
It's strange. It's strange.
Initially, it was meant to be called Airbnb, I think, but that's an even worse name.
Oh Jesus!
Yeah, I would not have watched that movie. Airbnb.
I think that I think was a great thing about Barbarian as well, is that because it was I don't think there was a lot of buzz before it came out, so it was one of those ones you don't really know much about until you sit down and watch it. I didn't know anything about it, so I went in blind when I first watched it. But yeah, I loved it. But that's good anyway. At least they were all 3 movies that we've picked first have been successes in terms of what we thought of them. They've all, nothing under 3, so
yeah,
pretty well received.
Jean-Pierre Jeunet is Alien Resurrection.
Not Luc Besson.
No.
30 seconds, lads. Let's wrap it up.
Right. So right, I don't know. Are you guys gonna stay on for a few minutes afterwards?
Yeah, I'll give you a call once it's
over.
Yeah.
Cool.
Behind the
All right.
scenes.
Well, listen, guys. Thanks for tuning in again. That's all from us. And yeah, we'll be back again next week with another video. Thanks. Talk to you guys.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.